Merry meet! So, this video has been brought to you by my cold sore that is still here and still annoying, and a messy house in the background. So, today we are talking about this book for our February read. So this is The Witch's Book of Self-Care, Magical Ways to Pamper, Soothe, and Care for Your Body and Spirit by Erin Murphy Hiscock, author of The Green Witch. I do have The Green Witch floating around somewhere. I don't know where. My house is relatively big when you lose things, and I've lost a lot of things in the chaos, so one day I will find it. However, we're talking about this book today. So, I figured this is a good book to kick off the love season. Valentine's Day is this week, and what better way than to talk about some self-care. So, overall, I say this book is great for beginners in the self-care realm. So if you're more advanced or you've kind of looked into this for a few years, I don't know that you're going to find any new information, but if you're like brand new into like self-care, this book is great. I wouldn't say that this book really has a high focus on witchcraft self-care. Most of these practices aren't, at least from my perspective, didn't feel very witchy. They felt more new age-ish, but again, most of these are stuff that people are saying to do across the board, not like, this is a witchcraft way to deal with it, which is good and bad. It's obviously going to hit a wider market of people, so you don't have to be a witch to enjoy this book, if you don't mind lighting some candles and having some oils and crystals. But on the other hand, I could see how that is more of like a witchcraft practice to some people. In my mind, it just feels very new age-ish. Like if you walk into a new age shop, it's going to feel a little different than a witchy shop, but you'll find some crossover. You'll find the crystals, you'll find the herbs, you'll find some decks, but it's a different vibe. If you've had the experience of like walking into those two different kinds of stores, is like the best way I can describe it. And this is far more of like the new age kind of vibe in my experience. So overall, the book isn't bad. The information is just, again, it's stuff that I've already heard 1,000 times over. When I read a book, no matter if it's for a beginner or advanced, I want to learn something new. Whether it is the same information repeated, make yourself stand out in some way. And this book didn't really feel like it stood out whatsoever. The rituals felt pretty generic, and the only way I can describe how they felt to me, like I had to think about a best way, hi puppy, to describe this, is that it feels more like, can I help you? It's getting close to dinner time for the doggos. Huh. Is you getting hungry? Yeah? Hi. Can you see her? There you go, there's the doggo. Isn't she precious? We love the doggos. Yeah, I know. I'll feed you in a minute. You still have your dry food. You're fine. I know. I know. She gets canned food, and it's getting about that time. Huh. 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 Anyways, so distractions 101. But yeah, so the spells were kind of more statement spells. And just like, I don't know, let's try and find one that, kind of, oh lord, now she's found a bottle to play with. This is great. I did not at all want to record a video. Luna, can I has it? Bring it here. Hi. No. I cannot has. No. Anyways. Great times if you have a doggo. I know you're getting hungry. I know. I know. Hi. You're cute. Willow. Shh. You're okay. You're okay. Anyways, so the spells thing with my dog being needy in the background. But isn't she just so precious? She's gonna be a year old this week, because she's adorable. Anyways, so the statement spells. It's just, okay, here is a segment of one of them that I just randomly kind of flipped to. But seems like a pretty good example. So, you're setting up your spell, right? And it says, place the tiger's eye in the bowl, saying, tiger's eye, bring me confidence and strength. Place the pinch of sage in the bowl, saying, sage, share with me your wisdom. Place the pinch of cinnamon in the bowl, saying, cinnamon, lend me spiritual growth. Place the pinch of dried rose in the bowl, saying, rose, strengthen my self-confidence. Add the drop of bergamot oil, saying, bergamot, bring clarity of mind. Add the drop of pine oil, saying, pine, reinforce my inner strength. Add the drop of neroni oil, saying, neroni, which I could be totally mispronouncing, by the way. Deepen my inner calm. And I think that's kind of the rest of the spell. Kinda. Okay, it goes on a little bit more. So you stir it up, and you visualize some white light, as per usual. Again, a little more new agey. And then it has a final kind of blob of text to read. Now, personally, if I'm reading a lot of spell stuffs, I mean, it's a nice little paragraph here that you're reading. And if I'm reading that kind of stuff, I want it to rhyme. I know I'm basic. I know you don't have to have it rhyme. But if it's not going to rhyme, it's going to be free verse. I don't want to read out of a book that doesn't rhyme. I don't know why. It's just me personally. But doing that kind of stuff, to me, it's like, okay, I guess. I can see both spectrums of it. I can see why you would say what intention you want from the, tool you're using, whether it's the oil or the herbs or whatnot. But on the other hand, I'm kind of like, I don't know, I've had some spells where, like, you literally just do the thing. You don't have any words of intention. You just do it. Like, I think there's like a healing one where you just visualize the sickness going into like a potato, and then you bury it and you cover it in salt, and you cover it back up and you're good to go. Like, simple things. And so it's kind of nice to have a mix of both. And for me, like, statement spells don't really go over that well. I definitely am more hands-on. I don't like to do a lot of spells like that. I mean, I add a little bit of statements to all of mine, obviously, but I don't know. It just, if I'm having to say words, I want it to rhyme. And I know it's basic, and I know it's dumb, but that's just me. So that's like one of the things. Now she's found a ball. She's entertaining herself. Hi. I know you're wanting to trade for food, aren't you? She learned trade, where she gives you her toy and you give her a treat. And I think that's her game plan. You could go bug your dad. He's downstairs. Yeah? You could. You could. Anyways. So, yes. And not to say that this book doesn't have good things in it. It totally does. But it is really heavily focused on the beginner's side of self-care. So if you've done your research on this topic before, nothing is going to be new. Hi, baby. Nothing is really new. It's stuff that you've already heard about. Your sacred bath salts and things, sleep oils, and they had like random stuff to do, a little bit of like seasonal stuff, but like connecting to nature and meditation teas, or ritual to connect to your world. She talks a little itsy bits about the gods. But then there's like a sleep mist, there's a relaxing bath oil, shower scrub bars. She has recipes for foods in here as well. And then there's just, the struggle of depression, the benefits of unplugging, be willing to accept failure. I mean, there's a variety of topics covered in here, but each topic is very briefly covered. I mean, it's maybe a page or two, and then we've moved on to something else. And so it was just kind of, again, with a lot of these books, it's just brushing the surface and then continuing on. Some people, that's really great. Again, if it's like an introduction to it, you don't want to spend pages and pages and pages and pages on this whole one thing. You just want a quick summary of whatever it is, which is great, because you're a beginner, you just want to get like the overview of the stuff. Fantastic for that. If you're more advanced and you're wanting more of like I don't know, it feels like this is more beginner witchcraft versus more advanced for self-care, and it could very well be that I work with a lot more intensive deities, so in my practice, self-care is much more like a tough love situation where it's like, aw, like, my peeps are not like, oh, you should take care of yourself, have this cup of tea and just meditate. It's like, no, bitch, get your ass up, go do your exercise. You don't want to do it, but you want to be healthy, so guess what? Go do it. And, you know, it's very different self-care system in place with the guides I have in my life. Whereas if you had maybe more of a loving, quiet, calm, gentle vibe around you, this book might work a little bit better. But I've never been one for baths and candles and reading a book in your bathtub kind of person. I'm just going to the spa. I'm just not that person at all. In the slightest. Like, let's go for a hike and have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich on top of a mountain as a way of self-care, where you have no self-service, but you take lots of pictures that you get a post once you get back down to signal at your car. That's my kind of self-care. So, overall, this book isn't bad. It's just really more aimed for beginners, and I know this author has quite a few books coming out. I didn't ever finish reading The Green Witch, so I don't know if it's similar to this. Once I find it, we'll talk about it. But yeah, overall, it's not the worst book. It's still very much a beginner's book if you're advanced. I don't know if I would say to read this unless you want like kind of a refresher course of some self-care ideas, witchy and otherwise. So anyways, that is all of my thoughts that I have on this little book. It's not as many thoughts as Solitary Witch, because that was a big book. This was a small book. But yeah, let me know your all's thoughts if you've read this book. I would love to hear other people's opinions on them, because I could just be crazy and not really dig in this book. Again, every person's a little bit different. You have your own tastes and styles, and I'm not a very self-care, this kind of self-care kind of a person. I have my own system, which involves Halloween and black dresses and, you know, pumpkin-scented candles while reading Edgar Allan Poe. Like, everyone has their own special way of dealing with self-care. Mine just happens to not be all of that. There are some things, though, like I do want to point out. Like, there are some that I'm planning on trying out. Like, I mean, I'm not going to make, like, the magical rose beads, but I thought that was kind of interesting to try. What was some of them? There's, like, doing, like, a morning prayer kind of thing that I thought, I mean, I don't know if I would use their words, but I like the idea of it. Or, like, the end of a day ritual I like doing. A daily kickoff ritual, I like that. Even though it doesn't rhyme, and it is very statement-focused, it is one that I would probably like to try. Because it's just a nice little way to start off your day. And, like, there's one that was kind of interesting, that you review your spiritual beliefs, which I thought was kind of interesting. And, what was another one? Oh, creating a spiritual vision board. Thought that was kind of interesting. What else? I'm just kind of flipping through the pages that I like set aside. I can't, there's not that many though. Like, there's a lot of pages that I'm like, I'm not seeing a bookmark for a while here. Because I just took an ad and just ripped it up. Oh, but like making a magical water bottle. I thought that was kind of interesting to, like, you know, charge your water for your day and whatnot. But like, I don't know. There's just like little things here and there that I might include. Like tracking your self-care. I think we talked about that. But yeah, like overall, there are always good and bad things in books. I'll be adding and trying out some of these things. I'll probably personalize them significantly, but at least a good starting ground. So overall, beginners, totally recommend you pick this out for starting a self-care journey to get to know a lot of the beginning basics of a lot of topics. If you're more advanced, you might find a few things that you hadn't thought of before, but overall, it's not really new information, at least for me. But I would love to hear your thoughts if you've read this book, and if you're, if you have opinions, I'd love to hear about them, because they could be very different from mine, which is fine, because everyone's done a different path and they've done different experiences. What I've learned about self-care you may have never heard of, and you might find in this book. So that's going to be my thoughts for this. My next witchy read that I'm going to carefully not knock over all of my cords and stuff here, I'm going back to a classic. So what I am doing, as my dog knocks over stuff, what I am doing is I am trying to read through all of the witchy books that we currently have and chat about them with you guys before I buy new ones, because I'm trying to do a low buy here. And so let's go back to Silver Ravenwolf, because I do like her spells. I will give her that. Some of them are super cheesy, but the ones that aren't, I really, really like. And I know it sounds silly, but like, I love my paycheck spell. I've adapted it slightly because I need fire magic in my soul. And so I added some candle goodies to it. Very simple. And then ta-da. And I adjusted it slightly. But yeah, like, and then, like, again, just slight variations to it. But I mean, there's still quite a few that I'm planning on, using, and so I figure we're just gonna go with it. So next one is To Ride a Silver Broomstick, new generation witchcraft, because I think this book may have been printed before I was born. There's a strong likelihood of that. Yeah, this book is older than I am. It was in 95, and I was born in 96. So, yeah, it's an older book, so I wouldn't necessarily call it new generation, because, like, it's 24, gonna be 25 years old this year, so. But anyways, I want to read through all of my books, and this is one that I have bought years ago, and I just never fucking read, so let's do it. Next witchy read that I will be talking about is To Ride a Silver Broomstick by Silver Ravenwolf. And I also may be chatting intermediately about nonfiction books as well, because me and my mummy dearest are reading through the Nancy Drew books. So if I have thoughts about them, I might chat. I haven't decided if I want it here or on my Patreon. I don't know what I'm doing, but we'll find out. So anyways, I'm gonna go feed the little doggo who's hungry. And yeah, so until my next video, let me know your thoughts on the self-care book and what witchy books you all are reading, or your non-witchy books that you're reading. Let me know down below. And until my next video, thank you for watching, and bliss be.